Hello everyone and welcome back to the second part of my Undertale tutorial in Scratch. In this episode we're going to be adding in movement for Frisk so he can move around. We aren't going to be adding in collisions in this episode, so sorry about that, but I kind of want to keep the episode length under sort of 15 minutes or so. Yeah, we won't be doing that this episode, but we're going to be making it so Frisk can walk around and his costumes will change and stuff like that. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go into Ruins 1, go to Data, and click make a variable, and this variable we're going to be calling it scroll X. And if you've watched some of my older Scratch tutorials, you'll probably remember scroll X. It's to basically it's so we can move the background around and like remember the location of the background in relation to where it is on the screen. So we are going to be needing scroll Y as well for this, because we're going to be needing to be able to scroll up and down as well. So yeah, and the other variables you're going to need to make sure you're in Ruins 1 and do make a variable, and then do for this sprite only and call it original X and original Y. And this will mean that we can remember the original coordinates of Ruins 1. And what we're going to want to do right now is do set original X to its X position. So if you go into motion and then X position, and then we're going to want to do the same for original Y, except it will be the Y position. And just do that, click the green flag once, and it will store your coordinates in there, and then you can take that away. And they will never change. They're always going to be 207, or whatever you've got yours set to. 207. That is, I think that's a good combination of coordinates for the Ruins 1. Okay, so next we're going to need to put in a forever loop. So go into control and put in a forever loop, and what we're going to want to do is go to motion, and we're going to do set X to if you get the addition operator in here, and then do data and original X plus scroll X. Basically what that's going to do is, as we change scroll X, like in Frisk, we're going to add in some scripts that will change scroll X depending on the arrow keys that are pressed. And what that's going to do is it's going to set X to the original X plus the scroll X, which will mean the background's going to move. So it will give the effect that Frisk is walking about. That will make more sense in a minute. So now we'll get the Y one, so set Y, and just copy and paste that and change these for this will be original Y and this will be scroll Y. And that is pretty much all we're going to need for the Ruins 1 scripts. Actually, there is one more thing we need to do. We need to set scroll X and scroll Y at the start to 0 just to reset the scrolling. And the other thing we can do is, if you want to just leave this in here, so set scroll X and original X and original Y, and we'll just set those to the X position. It will just make it easier for us if you for some reason want to change the original X coordinates and Y coordinates like the Ruins 1 background goes to. So right here 207. It will automatically update original X and original Y for you, so you won't need to worry about changing those as well. But that's all. Okay, so now if you go into the sensors and go to looks, you're going to want to set the ghost effect. So if you click drag in this set ghost effect and set it to 100, and what we're going to do is actually just take this out for a minute and then just drag it into each one of these sensors, because we don't basically want them to be hidden at the start or forever. So yeah, and just go into each one of these and drag them to the top. So for the left sensor, right sensor, top sensor, and bottom sensor, they're all at the top there, so they'll always be hidden. Okay, so now we're going to make a new variable, and we're going to call it speed. And this is basically going to track how fast Frisk can move. So if you go into Frisk and then go set speed to 3, and that should be good. That you can change that value. It's going to control how fast Frisk is going to move. I think 3 is a good value, but you can mess around with it yourself if you want to. And now we're going to put in the forever loop for Frisk. So this is going to be the main left arrow keys for controlling Frisk's movement right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do if, and then sensing, I think it is, and then key, and we'll do left arrow first, I guess, and just duplicate that. Actually, don't duplicate it yet. We're going to want to first of all point in direction. Actually, right at the start, you're going to want to put point in direction 180 down. So he's facing down to start with. So if you can see in the info, his direction is 180. Make sure your rotation style is no rotation, otherwise he's going to do that. So yeah, I think I said that in the previous part. Okay, so in left arrow, what we're going to want to do is point him in direction, and then it will actually helpfully tell us that -90 is left, like that. And then what we're going to want to do is, if you remember, we have scroll X and scroll Y. You're going to want to change scroll X, because we're moving in the X direction for left and right, and what you're going to want to put in is speed, wherever it is, data, speed, and that should, if you press the left arrow, it will move us to the left like that, as you can see right there. And then duplicate this. Oh, by the way, it's changed scroll X by speed, which is +3, because we want the background to move to the right, so it needs to be positive. Whereas for this one, for the right arrow, we are going to put in times -1, so speed times -1, and then put that in there. So basically, what that means is that will come out as -3, which means when we go right, the background will go left, if that makes sense. So now when we go right, the background will go to the left, so it looks like we're moving right. Hopefully you understand that, but yeah. Okay, so now we're going to duplicate again and do the up and down. So if you do up, and then, oh sorry, we need to point in the right direction for the right, so do 90 right there. So -90, 90, and then up is going to be 0. And then what you're going to want to do is do scroll Y, and can't quite remember if that's the right direction. Yeah, that is. Okay, so when we press up, we will go up, and then duplicate one more time and just do down arrow, and then you're going to want to use just speed and point in direction 180 to go down. And then hopefully we can now move in all 4 directions. So there you go, that's what you should have right now. Now we're going to probably put in the costumes next, and we're also going to make a few new variables. Okay, so go into data, and we're going to make 2 new variables, and these variables are going to be moving X, and make it for all sprites, and moving Y, and so we're going to add in a whole like new script up here. And so initially we're going to set these to 0. So just drag another one of those in, set them to 0 initially, and now basically what we're going to do, put in a forever loop, and we're going to do a series of if statements to kind of control if we're moving in the X, moving in the Y. So the first one you're going to want to have is an OR statement, and then do sensing and key, and do the left arrow. Oh, make sure that goes in there like that, and then we're going to want the right arrow as well, and I cannot click that in. There we go. And yeah, this is kind of annoying. I'm in like a smaller window than usual. I'm not full screen, so stuff like this kind of bugs out sometimes, so sorry about that. But yeah, so if key left arrow, key right arrow is pressed, then we're basically going to set moving X to 1. So 0 means false, 1 means true. Otherwise we're going to set moving X to 0. So right now what that will do is when we're moving either left or right, it will set moving X to 1 right here. So you can see right here. One thing that is annoying though, if you press both left and right at the same time, it will still be 1 even though we're not moving, so we'll have to fix that in a second. But first thing we're going to do before we do that is we're going to do the up and down. So change this to up and change this to down, change this to moving Y and change this to moving Y, and then that will mean we've got the Y ones working as well. But the same thing, if we press both keys at the same time, then it will still be 1, which we don't want, even though we're not moving. So what we're going to do for that, to handle that, is we're going to do another if statement, and we're going to do another OR, and this is going to be a long one, but if you do and, oh sorry, actually no, we don't need to do this, we just do this. So get rid of this and put this in here. So if key up arrow and key down arrow, so if they're both pressed at the same time, then we're just going to set moving Y to 0. So now if we press both of the keys at the same time, then moving Y will change to 0, as you can see right here. So we're moving down, we press the up key as well, it will change to 0, which is good, just what we want. And so now we're going to do the exact same thing for the X. So duplicate that again, do right and do left, and then we're going to do moving X. And that will mean that if you watch over here, then when we're not moving, yeah, hopefully you understand that. Basically I'm pressing both keys at the same time right now. I'm pressing both up and down right now, so it should be 0. There we go, and that's all we want. Next we're just going to add in a few more if statements. So if not, if we go if not key, where is it, key, and so what we're going to do for this, if any, so if not any key pressed, so basically all that means is if there are no keys being pressed on the keyboard, then we're going to set both of the moving X and moving Y to 0, just to reset them like that. And I think that should be good for the moving X and moving Y. Okay, so next we're going to control some of the costumes for Frisk when he moves about. So if you do another when the green flag is clicked, and we're just going to clean up and go over here a bit, and for some reason that is glitched out over there. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so what we're going to want to do is, in here we're going to have a big forever loop, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to have a series of if statements, and for this we're going to have an and then we're going to have if direction. So if you go to motion and then scroll down, go to direction, and so I'll just scroll over a bit so you can see this a bit better. So if direction equals 180, we're going to do first of all, and if you remember, 180 is directly down, right here, as you can see. So yeah, if direction is 180 and moving Y, if we go to operators again, go to equals, and if moving Y equals 1, so basically what this is checking is if Frisk is facing downwards and he's moving, then we're going to cycle through his down costumes, basically. That's what we're going to be doing. So if you go to looks, we'll just do next costume to start with. Oh, and right at the start of the game, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to switch to costume down 1, just to reset the costume at the start of the game. And right now, as you can see, this is going to cause a very weird effect, and Frisk just sort of cycles through all of his costumes, so it looks very strange. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go into control and put in a wait time, and yeah, put that right at the bottom, so outside of the if statement, and do 0.13. I think that's quite a good time for cycling through the costumes. He does look very weird right now because he's like cycling through all of his different costumes, but that's the basic idea. So kind of something natural like that, so it kind of looks like he's walking. So what's basically happening right here is, if you watch this box as it goes down, he's going through all his costumes. We don't really want. Basically what we want to happen is when for the down ones, once he gets past down 4, we want him to go back up to down 1. So what we're going to do is, if we go back over here, we're going to do a simple if and else. So put the next costume in else, and we're going to do if you get operators, and then if you get the more than operator, and I believe it's number 3 or number 4. If you put in number 4, if the costume, if you go to looks, and then if the costume is more than number 4, so number 4 is down 4, so if it's basically, if it's any costume down here, we're going to switch back to down 1. So, and that will mean that he will cycle through his down costume. So switch to costume, down 1. And there we go. That should cause him to have a nice little... Oh wait, hang on. We are going... I think we need it to be 3, because... hopefully that should work now. Yeah, now we've got him cycling through his down animations, which is what we want. So now we're going to do the same for the up. So yeah, it depends on the order you imported your sprites into your costume, sorry, into the Frisk sprites. So if your down ones are further down for some reason, I don't know really why that would have happened, but you're basically going to need to do the ones earlier up the list as well, if you see what I mean. But actually, don't worry about that for the moment. We will add in the other ones first. So duplicate that and just put it right in between here, and we're going to do the up one right now, which is 0. And for this one, we're going to change this to up 1, because that's the first up thing, the up costume. And what we're going to say for this, if the costume is less than 9, I think, or less than 10. So change this to less than and do this for 10. That should... Okay, that did not work. Let me see here. Why did that not work? Oh no, I know what we want. If the costume is more than 10, sorry, yeah, that should work now. Okay. Why is this not working? Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, so I figured out what was wrong. For some reason, in the previous episode, when I imported up 1, up 2, up 3, and up 4, Scratch did not import up 2. So I don't know if you guys had that problem. You probably didn't, but if you've downloaded the project from the previous part, then you might have this. For some reason, up 2 was not imported into the project. It only imported up 1, up 3, and up 4, which was very annoying, and I have no idea why that happened. But anyway, I've imported that back in. Yeah, so this is the script for up 1. So I basically said if costume equals 12. So if it's the last costume, this might be different. If you've got up 1, if you've got the up sprites in like the middle here, then you're going to need to do something slightly different. But if you don't want to do that, then just make sure you've got these imported in the same order as what I've got. So I've got the down ones at the top, and then the left ones, then the right ones, and then the up ones. So yeah, basically I'm saying if the costume is 12 or the costume's less than 9, so if the costume is anything like above here, like other than up 1, then we're going to switch to up 1. So that got that sorted. So yeah, that was a very weird bug on Scratch's behalf, but I looked back on my previous video and I definitely double clicked the up 3 sprite or up 2 sprite, whatever it was. It just didn't import for some reason. But anyway, so yeah, what we've got now is now Frisk can walk up and he can walk down. Now you might have noticed if we're standing still, Frisk kind of like just sort of stands there with one foot in the air. So we're going to need to fix that in a second, but for now what we're going to do is we're going to do the left and right. So duplicate that again, and we're going to do moving X this time, and I guess we'll do right, which I think is 90. Let's just check that. Yeah, 90. So this is for going right, and for all we're going to need for this, because there were only 2 left, like there were only 2 right costumes and there are only 2 left costumes, all we're going to need to do is, actually if we just duplicate this and put this in, so if I believe if costume is not, so if you get a not, put that in there like that, And what we're going to do is if costume is not number 5, sorry, not number 5, number 7, because we're doing right. It might be slightly different for you, like I said before, but basically you want the first number of the number of the first right costume, and so which is 7 for us. So if not costume equals 7, then we're just going to switch to number 7, which is right 1. Otherwise we're going to do next costume, and that should work for the right one. So yeah, as you can see, we can now move right and it does that. We can still walk in the walls, so yeah. And now we're just going to copy and paste for the up and down, get rid of the extra weight, and sorry, not the up and down, the left. And so you want to do -90, and then we're going to do if costume is not 5, because that's the number of the first left sprite, 5. So we're going to scroll down a little bit and do if not costume equals 5, then we're going to switch to left 1. Otherwise we're going to do next costume, and that should be good. So now we can move about and we're doing costumes and stuff. But one thing you may have noticed is, yes, he stands with one leg in the air when we're not moving, which we don't want. So we go to control and put in another if statement and move that weight thing down a little bit. And now what we're going to want is an and we're going to want an equals, put that in there. Make sure it goes into the and one and put that in there. And then if we're going to do moving x equals 0. And duplicate that and make that moving y equals 0. So this is if he's standing still completely. So he's just literally standing there. He's not moving the x or moving in the y. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a series of if statements. So get an operators equals, and what you're going to want to do is motion and then direction. And we're going to set direction, or test if direction is 0 to start with. I think that's going up, so what we want to do for that is we want to switch to costume up 1, like that. So that will mean when nothing's being pressed, if he's facing up, then it will switch to the right. You see he'll switch to the standing still up 1 costume, like that. Okay, and then if we duplicate this again, we're going to do 180, which is down, and then going to switch to down 1, and then duplicate this again, and we'll put direction is 90, and that will be right 1, I believe, and then duplicate that again, and then do -90, and duplicate that left 1, and that should mean that he now goes back to his neutral position when he's standing still. So as you can see, that is working good now. And that is going to be pretty much it for this video. One more thing that is optional, it's up to you whether you want to do or not, these are kind of just extra things, is if you've ever played Undertale, which you probably have, you will notice, like, if he's moving left or right, then if you move up or down while he's moving left or right, then his costume doesn't change. He just sort of like goes diagonally, but he continues facing right. So right now I'm facing right, so if I press up right now in R1, our sprite like changes to the up one, but in the actual game he continually looks left and while we're going up. So what we're going to want to do to basically mirror that behavior is we're going to do an if statement in here, and when we're changing the direction, what we're going to do, so if you get an if statement, and just bring it up here for the moment and do an equals, and what we're going to do is if for the left and right, what we're going to do is if moving y equals 0, and put that, duplicate it first, and don't make them go to each other like that, right, and put that in between the point direction, take it out there so it's exactly like that. And so basically all that means is as long as he's not already moving in the y direction when we press the left arrow, then he'll change his direction, otherwise he won't change his direction. I hope this kind of makes sense, but if it doesn't, don't worry, it's kind of more aesthetic things, to be honest. But so if we're moving this, what this has done is if we're going up or down, so if we're going up and we press right, he's not going to switch to his right costume. he's just going to continue looking up, if you see what I mean, like that. And it's the same for the down, so if we go left, then he'll continue looking down as we're going down, or right, whatever, so we can go like that. So it's just a minor aesthetic thing. So now we're going to do it for the left and right as well. So if you duplicate this and take out that, take out that, take that out as well, and moving x equals 0, duplicate that, put that one around the direction, make sure it's only around the direction, take the scroll Y stuff out and just do it like that, and that will mean that it's the same thing for the up and down. So if we're already going right and we press up or down, he won't change his costume, he'll just keep going right, and same for left. So there you go, that's just a smaller aesthetic thing. Okay, so the very final thing we're going to do in this tutorial is if you go to costumes in Frisk, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make his movement a little more realistic, because right now when he walks, he kind of just walks fairly, like, he looks like he's just sort of gliding along, which we don't really want. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit his costumes to make his movement a little more realistic. So if you go into down one we're going to keep the same, and then if you click on down 2, what you want to do is select Frisk with the select tool right here, press the up key on your keyboard just once to move him up by 1 pixel, and hopefully, yeah, you see how well that, what you want to do is select another tool. The Scratch paint editor is kind of buggy, but you basically want to get it like this. Sometimes if you select him and you move him up and then you deselect him, he moves back down again for some reason. But yeah, so if you've got that bug, I'm sorry, I don't really know how to fix that, but you basically want it so when you click between these two, he moves up by 1 pixel and moves down again like that. And then we're going to do the same thing for down 4. So down 1, leave the same, down 2, move up by 1, down 3, leave the same, and then down 4, we're going to move up by 1 again. So select him, press the up key, select another tool, and I think, yeah, you can see I'm getting the bug right here. It just suddenly moved down for no apparent reason after I deselected it, and it's still doing it. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so I came up with some sort of a fix for this. I have got it to work now. If you actually convert it to vector and then use the select tool in that, it should work. But again, this doesn't work 100% of the time. I have no idea why. It's a really silly bug, but maybe if you're in the browser, because I'm actually using the offline editor, if you're in the browser and you're doing Scratch 2, then maybe it'll work better, but I don't know. It seems very buggy for me, which is kind of annoying. But anyway, we're going to do the same thing for the left one. So left 1, you're going to leave the same, and then left 2, select it, move it up by 1, and it went down again. Let's try converting to vector. This is a really strange bug, and I have no idea why it happens. Okay, yeah, you see, if we convert it to vector, it seems to work. So then convert it back to bitmap, and yeah, then it works. So I don't know, the vector one seems to work better. So we'll do the same for right 1 and right 2. So select it with vector, move it up by 1, click it, convert back to bitmap. And yeah, we're getting to work now. So for the up ones, we want to do the same as the down ones, just for up 2 and up 4. So up 1, we leave the same, up 2, convert to vector, select it, move it up by 1, click this, convert back to bitmap. And there we go. Up 3, stay the same, up 4, convert to vector, select it, move it up by 1, click this, convert back to bitmap. Okay. There we go, we seem to have got it working now. So now when he moves, his movement will look a lot more realistic. As you can see, he's kind of bobbing up and down a little bit, so that's good, that's what we want. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for this video. I hope you haven't encountered many bugs with the paint editing program. It's a little bit buggy, I don't really know why, but yeah. Also, by the way, if you want to get rid of these variables, you can. So you can just untick all of these. And also it ruins these two, yeah. So yeah, that's what we've done in this video. Next video we're going to add in the collisions, so he doesn't go through walls like this. But for now, that's what we've got. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you're enjoying this series so far. And oh yeah, sorry that this second part took so long to come out. I've been a bit busy and just, you know, I don't know. I've got exams going on at the moment, so it's a little bit busy with that, but it's fine. So hopefully the third part will be out soon. I haven't got any set time for it to come out yet, but hopefully it will be soon. So yeah, please stick around for that, and I will see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed. See you again next time. Bye bye.